What's up guys, JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another video. This time we're doing Ranking Wednesday, episode number 3. This is a series in which I take a franchise, trilogy, or film series and I rank them from my least favorite all the way down to my favorite. And guys, this time we're doing another big one. This is a pretty bad franchise, but I have a little soft spot for it in my heart because I grew up watching these films, and that is the Children of the Corn franchise. We actually covered these on the podcast many episodes ago. It was one of our better episodes, one of our more successful episodes in terms of downloads and hits. So if you're curious on my full thoughts on all of these films, check that out. It is available on Moods' channel, 22shotsofmoodsandzandhorror.com, and of course horrorphilia.com. One other thing that I wanted to say is there is currently another Children of the Corn film in production called Children of the Corn: The Runaway. Obviously I cannot include this on my list, so sometime in the future I'll probably have to do an updated version. So with that said, let's jump into these. And it is Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Return. This is a film that should be good, right? It's based on the concept of the first one. You have Isaac, the lead villain of the first film. It's his return. This is a return to form. This is going to be a return to what was good because the last 4 sequels have sucked. And now we are going to make this film series actually a film series and not just one film and a bunch of crappy sequels. Unfortunately, that did not go through. This plot is so goddamn convoluted. There's nothing that makes sense in this film. It's so hard to follow. On the surface, it should have been a good movie, but it is just dreadfully bad. It's made our Hall of Pain. It's made our Hall of Pain, which is like the opposite of the Hall of Fame, where it's for bad films. And Children of the Corn 6 definitely deserve to be in there. Coming in next, we have Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror. This one is one that I actually remembered liking when I was a kid, but god damn it, is it just as bad as ever. There's a lot of things that don't make sense, plot holes everywhere, characters literally doing the dumbest things ever. You start to wonder, like, did anybody even look at this script after the first draft? Like, I feel like this guy was like, alright, gonna write a whole script in 2 hours, and then that's became the film. Children of the Corn 5 is awful. There are a few, very few positives in it, like Kane Hodder's in the film. It's Eva Mendes's first role. That dude / became a chick. David, not Patricia, not David. Alexis Arquette. I think he's in it when he was a he. So yeah, that's something of note. That's all for Children of the Corn 5. Next up, we have Children of the Corn 4, The Gathering, from the year 1996, I believe. And Children of the Corn 4 is one of those films that is in the series. Nobody ever gives it any attention because after part 2 and part 3, and maybe some people seen some other ones, that they don't think that this one will be anything different. And it actually is very different. And a lot of people that have watched the series always point this one out as being probably one of the best in the series, even though it has absolutely nothing or very little to do with Children of the Corn. I, however, do not like that about this film. I just never really got into Children of the Corn Part 4. I do admit that it's probably the best made in the series, but it is just not one that I really care for. It's just a ghostly, it's not about the same things as the other films. It's a sick kid thriller type movie. I don't know, it's like a ghost film. I just never really liked this one that much, even though I will admit that it's one of the best made films in the series. Next up, we have Children of the Corn 7, Revelations. Now this one was a little bit of a surprise to me. It's set in an apartment complex. It's actually not that bad. It's not really a Children of the Corn film. This is back when Dimension had the rights to the Children of the Corn and they just made films out of other scripts and then slapped Children of the Corn on the box cover. This was also famous with the Hellraiser films, even more so with the Hellraiser films, but Revelations, I'm 100% convinced, was not a Children of the Corn film. It was another script that was turned into a Children of the Corn film. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm almost certain. But it's actually alright. It's not a bad movie at all. I definitely think that it's one of the better in the Children of the Corn franchise, even though it is still pretty average, but compared to the other films, it's not that bad. Next up, we have Children of the Corn Genesis. This is the last one that came out, and honestly, guys, This one was a huge surprise to me. I was expecting it to be absolutely dreadful, and I actually ended up liking it quite a bit. I would actually consider it a decently made movie. Again, not really much to do with Children of the Corn at all. It's just a weird kind of horror movie about this couple who, you know, break down by this other older couple's house. Not really older, but anyway, plot doesn't matter. It's actually not too bad. I do recommend checking it out. Just completely remove the fact that it's a Children of the Corn film and literally just watch it as if it was a random movie you just decided to hit play on Netflix, and I think a lot of people would like it. Next up, we have Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest. This is a film that I've always actually liked. Ever since I seen it on VHS when it first came out in the video store, I rented it, and I actually liked it. It has effects by Screaming Mad George. It's set in Chicago, even though it doesn't really look like it, and it's like a private school, but kind of not really because things don't make sense, and it's kind of a weirdo one, but it's definitely got a lot of plot holes, but I've always kind of enjoyed it. It just has a cool atmosphere to me, and it's actually more of a Children of the Corn film than most of them, and it's like, you know, Children of the Corn in the hood and shit, you know? So it's one that I've always liked. Next up, we have Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice. This one, although it is absolutely ridiculous and not a lot of things make sense in it, I love this one. This is one that I grew up watching. I always used to rent this one, even over the first one. It's just something about it that I like. I don't know. It's probably my favorite guilty pleasure ever. Children of the Corn 2 is such a fun film to me, and yeah, it's ridiculous, and yeah, there's all these stupid moments and plot holes, and nothing makes sense, but I just like it. It's silly, and it's so bad it's good, and I love that about it. And honestly, I don't think it's as bad as people say. I mean, the chick's really hot. There's kind of, you know, a decently stupid plot. Like, the plot is pretty stupid, but it kind of almost has a little bit of merit to it, because like they're talking about the ergot mold, and ergot is a real mold, and it does cause psychoactivity, so they kind of tried to make what happened in Gatlin kind of actually possible. They tried to put some logic to it instead of just crazy devil worshipping kids. A lot of people don't like that. I thought it was pretty cool. Children of the Corn 2, I just love it. I love it. And my second favorite Children of the Corn film is Children of the Corn the Remake, and I had no idea that I liked this one as much as I did. Actually, I was on record saying how bad it was, but when we did the podcast, it was just a huge surprise. I was like, you know what, this one is actually not that bad, you know? There are some stupid moments in it, bad casting with the lead villain as Isaac. Malachi's casting was pretty decent. I did like the dynamic between the interracial couple, because it was more along the lines of what it was in the book, which is, you know, it actually follows the book more than the first film, so that's something that I liked about it. And the ending, I did not realize that the ending was going to be as strong as it was. So Children of the Corn the Remake, I think people who immediately dismissed it should give it a second look, honestly. One thing you won't be surprised about is that my number one film is the original Children of the Corn. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? This film is a classic. The music, I absolutely love the opening scene in the little diner where all the kids pull out the knives and poison the adults and kill them. Like, it's so, you know, unsettling and shocking. It's just a good movie. There's slightly parts of it that are slightly dated now, but it's a classic killer kid film, and there's so much good about it that I'm willing to dismiss and sort of shoo away all the negatives that it has, because it has so much cool things going on in it. So that is Ranking Wednesday, guys. I'll see you next week with another franchise, series, or trilogy. Peace.